San Aldana was a small town hidden between mountains and forests that seemed to watch visitors with an expectant silence. It had barely two main streets, a stone square, and a bell tower that rang even when the wind was still. But what truly set it apart was its fog, a dense, white, living fog. No one knew where it came from or why it settled over the town every night, as if wrapping it in an embrace it never wanted to let go. Lucía, a 29-year-old journalist, had heard the stories of San Aldana since she was a child. Her grandmother, born there, spoke of whispering voices at dawn, lights moving within the fog, and neighbors who would vanish for hours with no memory of where they'd been. Lucía had always dismissed it as superstition, but when she received an anonymous letter that read, "If you want to know the truth about your grandmother, come to San Aldana before the next full moon," intrigue overcame doubt. Lucía arrived in the town on a gray afternoon. The bus left her in the square, where the building facades were barely visible through the mist. The silence was so profound she could hear the bus engine fade away as if she were inside a cave. She walked to the inn. The owner, an older woman named Rosa, greeted her with a tense look. "Are you Lucía?" she asked, almost without a hello. "Yes, I reserved a room." Rosa didn't reply. She just nodded and handed her a key. "Your grandmother will be proud that you've returned," she said in a low voice. "You knew her?" Rosa looked up, her eyes moist. "We all knew her here. We all feel her absence." Lucía wanted to ask more, but Rosa had already disappeared into the kitchen. That was the first sign that something was wrong. That night, Lucía went for a walk. The fog was starting to thicken, but she wanted to see the bell tower she had heard so much about. The tower stood over the square like a finger pointing to the sky. There was no light inside, yet the bell rang, a deep, slow toll that made the windows vibrate. Lucía startled. No one else seemed to notice. She looked up, and there, on the bell tower's railing, she saw a figure, a thin man in a long coat, staring at her intently. She couldn't make out his face, but the feeling of being watched pierced her like ice. She blinked, and in that instant, the man was gone. A shiver ran down her arms. She was not alone. The next morning, Rosa knocked on her door. "This appeared in the lobby last night," she said, handing her an old, worn-out leather-bound notebook. "It has your name on it." Lucía opened it, and her heart skipped a beat. It was her grandmother's handwriting. "If you are reading this, it means the fog has started to move again. Don't trust what you see. And above all, do not look into the eyes of whoever calls your name from within the fog." Lucía felt a lump in her throat. What did her grandmother mean? Why had someone gone to the trouble of sending her the notebook now? She kept reading. "The fog is a mirror. It reflects what is lost. It reflects those who don't want to leave." The last pages were blank, except for one final sentence. "Don't go back to the bell tower. Not while he is there." Lucía remembered the man from the previous night, and she decided she had to find out who he was. In the square, she found an old man sitting on a bench, carving a piece of wood. His skin was weathered, his eyes strangely alive. "You're Mariana's granddaughter," he said without Lucía introducing herself. "Yes. Did you know her?" "Like a daughter. Your grandmother was the only one who tried to understand the fog." Lucía sat beside him. "Do you know who the man in the bell tower is?" The old man stopped carving. "You shouldn't ask that. I've already seen him," she insisted. Don Emilio sighed. "He was the first to disappear. His name was Tom S. He was the town's bell ringer. One night, more than 30 years ago, the fog enveloped him, and he was never the same." "What does that mean?" "It means," the old man said, his voice trembling, "that what you saw is not a man." Lucía felt the air grow colder. "And my grandmother?" she asked. Don Emilio pursed his lips as if afraid to speak the truth. "She also disappeared." The silence felt like a stone. Lucía felt the world tilt. "But she died in a hospital. That's what they said," Emilio replied. "But the truth is, we found her at the edge of the forest, on her knees, talking to someone who couldn't be seen inside the fog. When we tried to take her home, the fog claimed her." Lucía looked at him, horrified. The body they buried wasn't hers. That night, Lucía couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she remembered the figure of the bell ringer. At 3 in the morning, a whisper woke her. "Lucía," she sat up abruptly. The voice was coming from the window. "Lucía, come." Her grandmother's notebook fell from the nightstand and opened on its own to the underlined sentence, "Do not look into the eyes of whoever calls your name." Lucía froze. But curiosity, or perhaps fear, forced her to approach. She pulled the curtain back just a little. She only saw the fog, dense, white, moving, until hands slapped against the glass from the outside. Lucía screamed. When she blinked, no one was there. At dawn, she decided she had to go to the forest where her grandmother was last seen. Rosa tried to stop her. Don't go out at night. Don't go out alone. And if you hear the bell, hide. Lucía nodded but started on her way regardless. As she walked, the fog thickened even with the sun high above. The forest creaked as if it were breathing. Among the trees, she found a small wooden cabin. The door was ajar. Inside, everything was covered in dust except for one object on the table, a lit lantern. Lucía picked it up. It was still warm. Who had left it there? A notebook identical to her grandmother's lay open. And there, in the same handwriting, it said, "If you are reading this, it means you found me." Her grandmother's voice seemed to echo in the cabin. "Don't be afraid. I am still here," and below, a sentence added in a different, thicker, more frantic script. "Do not listen to her." A sharp knock on the wall startled her. Then another. Something was moving outside. Lucía turned off the lantern. Silence returned until a shadow passed by the window. Lucía ran from the cabin, but the fog surrounded her like a wall. She couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. Then she heard footsteps behind her. Lucía, that voice, deep, slow, just like the bell ringers. "Come with me." She ran, but the steps grew closer. "Don't be afraid. Leave me alone," she yelled without turning back. But the fog suddenly parted, revealing the bell ringer in front of her. His eyes had no pupils. They were two spheres of solid fog. Lucía stumbled backward. "You belong here too," he said. No, she raised the lantern, though it was unlit. Then the bell rang, a massive, impossible toll that cut through the forest. The bell ringer screamed in a voice that wasn't human. The fog vibrated, and the figure vanished. Someone grabbed her arm. It was Don Emilio. "Come," he ordered, "before he returns." Back at the inn, Emilio spoke while Rosa shut the windows and doors. "Your grandmother discovered something no one was supposed to know," the old man explained. "The fog isn't natural. It's a border. A border to what?" Lucía asked. "To what's left between us and those who are gone. But some don't accept that they've departed. They get trapped, and the fog molds them." Lucía shivered. "So the bell ringer is not the bell ringer. It's what's left of him," Rosa intervened. "Your grandmother tried to communicate with the other side. She thought she could rescue the lost, but she brought something back with her." "What?" Lucía whispered. Rosa answered with a trembling voice. The fog chose her. Lucía couldn't hold back her tears. "Is she alive?" Emilio looked at her with pity. "She's trapped, just like the others, but not entirely lost." Lucía understood the implication. "So, can I bring her back?" Rosa shook her head forcefully. "No, no one must enter the fog. No one." But Lucía had already made up her mind. That night was the full moon. The fog was brighter, almost silver. The bell rang 3 times, announcing that the border was open. Lucía slung the lantern over her shoulder and headed for the forest. Rosa and Emilio called after her, but she didn't stop. "Grandma," she whispered as she moved forward. The fog shifted as if in response. Suddenly, she saw her, a female silhouette standing among the trees. "Grandma," the figure extended a hand. Lucía ran toward her, but when she was inches away, the figure dissolved like smoke. The bell ringer appeared behind her. "She will not return," he said emotionlessly. "I don't believe you. You will stay with us." Lucía took a step back. The lantern began to light up on its own with a bluish glow. The bell ringer growled, covering his face. Then the fog opened, and another figure emerged from it. A woman with long, white hair like the mist. "Lucía," a soft voice said. It was her grandmother. Lucía cried. "Grandma, I've been looking for you. You have to leave," Mariana said. "I can't go back anymore. But the fog wants you. Don't listen to it. Don't believe its promises." The bell ringer let out a scream and lunged at them. Mariana held out her arm, and the fog wrapped around him, dragging him back. "Run, Lucía," her grandmother ordered. "And don't look back." Lucía wanted to hug her, but Mariana smiled sadly. "I'm proud of you. Live for both of us." And with a sudden gust of wind, the fog pushed her out of the forest. Lucía woke up in the square, covered in leaves. Rosa and Emilio found her there, crying silently. "I'm sorry," Emilio said. "We couldn't stop you." Lucía shook her head. She saved me." Rosa hugged her. "The fog will be calm for a while," she said. And it was. For the following weeks, the fog still appeared, but it no longer whispered. It no longer moved shadows. It no longer called anyone by name. Luca then understood that her grandmother had taken the bell ringer's place, keeping the border closed. One night, looking at the bell tower, she thought she saw a woman standing there, watching over the town. She smiled, because even though she knew her grandmother could never come back, she also knew she would never leave her alone. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.